All right. Welcome, everybody, to the legendary interview section. I am your illustrious host, Kevin Anytime, and I have my beautiful guest here, Karla. And then please say your last name for me because I don't think I ever asked you.
Elizondo. It's easier than it looks.
Okay, Elizondo. All right, got Karla Elizondo here and came across her profile on TikTok and noticed a number of different things that I liked about her. First of all, that we share the same mindset and to a certain degree. And also, I saw on her YouTube channel that she's interviewed the one and only legendary Bob Proctor. So that's very interesting. And that's something that we might end up touching on. But let's go ahead and jump right into it. So if you guys like mindset, if you're just now tuning into this, please like and subscribe to the channel because you'll get more interviews like this. But yeah, let's hop right into it. So, Karla, thank you very much for taking the time to be on here.
Thank you for
And
having
so,
me.
yeah. So let's talk about your mindset. What exactly, if you could define it, what would you say your personal mindset is?
Um, the way I describe mindset and I teach my, clients is the mindset is a culmination. It's a set of our beliefs. It's a set of our programming. It's how we view the world. So all of the programming, everything we've been conditioned with creates our mindset. The mindset is comprised of beliefs, thought patterns, cognitions, messages that we got from a young age. And Bob used to describe it as our attitude. Attitude is like a cake mix. It's like an ingredients from your beliefs, your views on life, how you were programmed, how you were raised, what you were taught, and then that creates our mindset or our attitude. And from that is how we view the world, how we experience everything in life. So if our mindset is off, the world is off. And then we can blame the world, but that's a whole different story. So our mindset, to the extent of our mindset, will be the extent that we enjoy this life, enjoy anybody or anything in life. So mindset for me is the lens with which I look at life through.
Oh, nice. Okay. Well, what would you say yours is? What would you say that your lens and how you look at the world, what would you say that your particular perception is?
Ooh, perception, perception creates reality. My mindset is always changing.
Okay.
Pardon me. My mindset is always changing. They talk a lot about fixed mindset versus growth mindset. I think growth mindset, I would describe mine as growth mindset, learning every single day. I
Gotcha.
take pride in calling myself a student. I'm a student of life. I think it's important to learn and grow every single day. So I would say my mindset is growth mindset. It's always open. I try to be open because there is conditioning that I am closed-minded to. I'm not perfect. It's a challenge every single day to take new information in. But my mindset is open, optimistic, realistic. Um, it's all types of things, but I think that if I could label it one thing, it's fluid, it's open, it's growth oriented. That's my mindset.
Nice. That's really cool. Um, I was looking at a couple things that you just recently uploaded. We subscribe to your channel too, by the way.
Mhm.
So if you see a couple extra subscribers on my personal and the business page, but um, what I found interesting, what you was talking about was I think I either just posted it about it or I was just thinking about it. I'm like, dude, we are on the same wavelength. This is crazy. Was about, is it anger that you just
Mhm.
recently posted?
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, because I don't know. I'll have to look through, but I just recently was talking about something like that. And what I find interesting is sometimes people in our arena, they get viewed kind of weird if we get upset sometimes.
Mhm.
what what is your take on that? Because me personally, I'm like, look, guys, okay, like you were saying with some of the things, it's like, okay, we're human, right?
Mhm.
What do you think? Where do you think anger has its place in this mindset arena, or what have you, or what would you say, or kind of piggyback off of the video that you kind of were
Right.
talking about today? Yeah.
Right. Well, I think the post you were saying is like, it's easy to be angry. It's easy. We're conditioned. It's second nature. It's the animalistic, lower level, reactionary part of us. It's our emotional world. And so it's not, for a long time, I was afraid to be angry or lose my cool. But that's denying my human experience. Of course, there's things, if you're not angry about something, then you're not really looking at it like how the world is today. To be angry. But this is the difference. Are we going to look at it and sit with it and get to the bottom of it and meditate on it? And because anger is a secondary emotion, it's like a color, it's not a primary color. Anger is always covering something deeper, usually hurt or sadness or some sort of pain. So anger is hiding pain. That's a very generalized, description. But anger is like a secondary color. It's not primary. Let our job, I believe, for my life and what I teach my clients and what I've learned is, let's get to the root of it, because anger is just an effect. Let's get to the cause. So anger is just like a surface thing. It's like anybody can be angry. Yeah, duh, ding dong. It's like, it's so easy to be angry. And so we accept it, we acknowledge it, we accept it. And we don't just spew it out on other people. It's not my business to deal with your anger or his anger or her anger or anybody else's anger. Don't throw your anger on anybody else. It's for us to deal with. It's for us to breathe through and calm down and get to the reason why we're angry and then speak from the truth. Anger is not a truth. Anger is like us being out of control, a part of us, an angry part, taking over. And of course, anger, it has a very short shelf life. We cannot stay angry for a while. We'll shut down, we'll
Mhm.
crash, and then usually we wake up and we're like, oh man, I'm so sorry, or I didn't mean to say that. What I really meant was I was hurt, or what I really meant to say was this. It's like, well, we could have really avoided all of the hurtful words that you can't take back, or the actions. You broke something, or you did something where you made a decision that's irrevocable. So anger is a part of us, a part of everybody, not to be denied, but also not to let be run rampant and not be controlled. And it's
Yeah.
our job, our individual job. It's my job to get to the bottom of my anger. It's your job to get to the bottom of yours. And don't let it take over and start yelling and making decisions. If it does, it's okay because we're human.
Mhm.
But if it's, a pattern that we have that's just unbridled anger and it's like, well, just deal with it. It's like, okay, well, you have to deal with the consequences of that.
Yeah. All right. Well, we touched on a couple of different topics, but I'm sorry, I didn't even tell you to introduce yourself. So if you could,
Okay.
please
That was the
introduce
intro.
yourself. Huh?
That was just the intro.
Right, right. That was to get y'all hooked. No. Go ahead and introduce yourself, and let everybody know where you're from and stuff like that.
Yes. Well, first of all, thank you so much, Kevin, for having me. Mindset Matters. I was so grateful that you reached out because mindset is the only thing that matters. It truly does create our reality and how we experience everything. So I'm Karla Elizondo. Happy to be here. Thank you for having me. And I am a psychotherapist and a mindset coach. So basically, I just work with people all day to kind of get to those roots, to get to the roots, to help people heal, to help people understand themselves. Self-awareness is huge. My creed is know thyself and you shall know the universe and all the gods, just like the ancient Greeks used to study. I think that studying ourselves, this inner domain, knowing who we are, a better understanding of ourselves will create an easier life, because life is an inside job. We live from the inside out, not the outside in. That's really how everything works. First it's created here, then it's seen out here. We don't always work that way. We're literally trained and conditioned to let the outside world dictate how we're going to feel inside. But we must learn to really activate and strengthen that muscle of creating the life we want, thinking about what we want, not just want, but how do we really feel, getting to the bottom of it, knowing ourselves, and then moving from that truth. Because out here, there's a lot of truths with little t's, but it's relative. It's subjective. So we must get to, or objective rather. the inner subjective world is really where the power comes from. So that's what I've dedicated my life to.
Yeah. Well, so how did you get into psychotherapy, and what led you to where you are now?
I've always been interested in psychology, in the human condition, philosophy, studying like what is the meaning of life? Why are we here? How can I best use my potential? Having that urge at a really young age to explore the human condition, and probably a lot through pain. Like I was depressed at a young age. I didn't know back then, but I was just, like what's the point? Just feeling really hopeless and wanting to make the pain go away. That's really where it started, I would say around age 12, 11 or 12. And just kind of, people passing away, young kids my age, just, drunk driving, accidents here and there. I went to a lot of funerals. And
Mm,
so just the human condition was always very attractive to me, meaning studying the situations we go through, storytelling. I, went to my undergrad was in film. I used to, or I still do really tell stories. I think the medium of film and TV is one of the most powerful to tell stories about the human condition. I was in plays, I act as well. I haven't been doing it as much lately, but it all goes back in therapy. Like there's a lot of actors that are therapists and vice versa.
mm,
But it's because we're all just trying to understand the human condition and the emotional world in different ways in real life and then in, life behind the camera. So just ways to tell the story of the human condition. And that's really what got me into it, just to understand life myself. Really, I always say when people ask, Karla, what is it all about? Like, what's God? And I'm like, well, you're asking the wrong person. Like, that's like you asking me who you are. Because I think that in our search for God, say you're looking for God or what's God, you find yourself. But if you're looking for yourself, you also find God. It's like whatever you think God is. I don't mean God in a religious term or any kind of dogmatic term. I'm just the ultimate creator, that whatever is running this whole show. I think that we get to the core of higher self, whatever you want to call it. You don't have to call it God, but um, I just think that inner search at a really young age kind of got me along this track. And through studying film and storytelling, it just got me farther into psychology, philosophy. Then I went back to grad school and I got my degree in clinical psychology, my master's degree. And now I give therapy. And I am kind of merging that conscious content creation. So I'm still kind of using my voice and my performance skills for that and creating conscious content. So that's kind of what got me into it.
well, okay, and that's really interesting. So I interviewed another, I believe, psychotherapist, but she was fresh out of college, I believe. Um, with that, do you have to kind of tiptoe around certain things maybe that you want to talk about, or are there any like parameters that they say, hey, you got to stick by these guidelines? Well, how long have you been doing it, because you're
Mhm.
probably way more seasoned,
Mhm.
and then is there something that you're trying to do with that and your content creation?
Right. I've been studying psychology and personal development for 20 years, straight up.
Got you.
Professionally, 4 years I've been practicing,
Okay.
10 years studying officially, professionally. But also, I'm going to be 40. So it's a life experience that, probably the person that you interviewed before, a lot of people, if they go straight through, they're 23, 22 years old, straight out of actually like 24 if your master's degree.
Hmm.
That's a young age. They can have the book smarts and the clinical experience when it comes to school, but actual experience in life, I think that you can't, there's no books you can study for that. So there's theory, which they teach us in school, and then there's experience that we learn in life. So I feel like maybe that's what you get from me. I have experience. I've lived life combined with the theories that I've learned in school.
Hmm.
So I've been through stuff myself. That's primarily where I get my best experience from, working with other people. Yeah. So I would say 20 years I've been really at it studying this stuff, but professionally, probably the last 5 years.
Got you. Have you had like a lot of clients? Is it a big clientele or?
Yeah, well, to get licensed, you need a minimum of 3,000 hours. So,
Got you.
yeah, I've seen hundreds of people and then worked in groups. So it's been to like thousands at this point. Um, but to your point of, do I have to stand by certain guidelines? Like, it depends. It depends on where you work. It depends on your environment, the clientele you work with, all that kind of
Mhm.
stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm old enough now to have that experience to know like who I like to serve, what kind of clients I attract. I really focus on mindset. That's one of the
Mhm.
biggest things. I'm actually running a group called Mindset Reset every Thursday at 5. If you're interested, hit me up.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's a basic cognitive behavioral therapy model, CBT. It stands for cognitive behavioral therapy. And basically, the most simplest way to describe it is our thoughts create emotions, our emotions fuel our actions, and those actions have results. So, usually, when people come into therapy, they have results in their life that they are not happy with, that are causing them pain or their loved ones pain. The results in their life are no bueno. Well, let's look at the actions. I can't help it. I'm addicted. I've tried so many things. I just can't stop doing these things, these habits. Well, what's fueling those habits? It's our emotions. We feel impelled. We feel compelled. We just can't stop. It's the emotional life. Okay. Well, what thoughts are fueling those emotions? Then when we like really rewind it back up to all of our thoughts, what is fueling those thoughts? What environment are we in? What kind of conditioning and program have we had? And when we're adults, it's our responsibility. I mean, children are so vulnerable and open. They don't
Mhm.
have the capacity to like weed out. They don't have the capacity to reason, to know what's right and wrong. They just don't have that ability yet. They're not developed yet. So, children are extremely vulnerable. Um, I don't know. I think I went on a tangent, but did that answer your question?
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah, yeah. Um, okay. Well, then I was gonna go into like prior achievements and stuff like that. I in the beginning, if people are gonna probably be wondering, I did mention that you interview Bob Proctor, so we can kind of just start there. What was that like, and then how did you guys get connected together?
Yeah. So funny story. I was probably 23. So a real quick recap. So at a young age, I had really had this like existential crisis, so to speak. Like, what is the meaning of life? Kind of feeling depressed. And then kind of getting into high school, realized that there was a way to cope, and it was through alcohol. I started hanging around kind of an older crowd. And, it was just that first sip, like, what relief. All the kind of voices quieted, and I just felt so free and so relaxed. It was the quick fix to anxiety, quick fix to depression. It was just a high. And I found my coping, and that happened to be my coping for the next 20 years. I used alcohol to cope. And it wasn't until I realized that that was fueling my anxiety and depression. Because if you don't know, listen to me now. Alcohol is the number one fueler of anxiety and depression. So if you're depressed or you have anxiety, alcohol is the worst thing you can do to yourself. I know in the moment it's the quickest thing, quickest fix, but it really, you're doing yourself a disservice. And I know it's hard, but you know, it's a journey. So just keep that in mind. So I had actually gotten a DUI. It was after a college party, after my graduation, a week after my undergrad. So I was 23, 22, 23. And I had gotten pulled over, and it wasn't the first time I had drank and drove. But yeah, I got pulled over. I was like guilty as charged. Like, yeah, I'm, three sheets to the wind. So, went to jail, all of the things. It was, humiliating. It was disappointing. It was embarrassing. And so, did that stop me from drinking? No. But it was in that, I say all that to say, it was in 2006
Okay.
that when I was in my drinking driving program, my alcohol counselor showed us all the movie A Secret.
Oh.
That's what got me onto Bob Proctor.
Got you. Okay.
And so, as many of you guys, if you listen to this, I'm sure you're in a mindset and just understanding either the law of vibration or the law of attraction. It's something that we know. It's like it resonates. Like, oh, I knew that, I do that, or wow, yeah, that resonates. It resonates with so many people is because we already do it, or we're aware of it, or it just makes
Mhm.
sense. So that was my first exposure in 2006 to him. Cut to moving on with my life, hanging on, doing this, and it was fun. I had a good life. I have a good life. But it was probably once I realized that alcohol was not the way, 20 years later,
Mhm.
um, when I was like, what, something's got to change. And I used to watch so many YouTube videos, just all the free content that's out there.
Mhm.
And, you get what you pay for. And so I wasn't investing anything. So I wasn't really getting a return on my investment. And then I had noticed that he had one of those events in Los Angeles. And I was like, I'm
Mm.
going to go. And so it was in, I think, 2018. And then the event was going to be in 2019. And I invested, and it was the most money I've ever spent, like on a weekend seminar. I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. But at that point, I didn't care. I did not care. So I went
Yeah.
to it, met him, and the rest is history. Like, I've invested in so many programs of his. I actually am a consultant for the Proctor Gallagher Institute now, really carrying on the legacy now that he's passed
Yeah.
and teaching his programs. And he, for me, he resonated the most. Although I love all of the personal development. I love Tony Robbins, Les Brown, Jim Rohn, Brendan Burchard, everybody. I love Mel Robbins. But Bob, for me, was the quintessential teacher. He was such a student. And one thing that really resonated was the spiritual aspect he brought into personal development. And he
Mhm.
used to say all the time, and he says in his book, You Were Born Rich, that anybody who's super serious about personal development and knowing themselves, if they do not have a spiritual foundation, they're going to miss something. So that's
Mhm.
why I really gravitated towards him, is because he had this real deep spiritual aspect to the mind and personal development. So through working with him for a couple of years in his programs, on Zoom calls, one-on-one, FaceTime with him, it was so nice. I became a consultant. And then, of course, he agreed to come on my Instagram when I had like 74 followers and do, or my YouTube channel. I don't even think I had any subscribers on my YouTube. I had like 17
Oh,
subscribers on my YouTube
wow.
channel, and he did this interview.
Nice.
So that just speaks to the amazing person he was. So that's how I
Yeah.
got that interview, which you can find on that YouTube channel. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really, really freaking cool, dude. Because I resonate with Bob a lot too. I've recommended him to a lot of people to watch that classic Vault Born Rich
Mm.
program stuff because it's
Timeless.
just it's super timeless, man.
It is.
Sometimes I go back to it even now because I'm just like, dude, there's some good stuff in there.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, just to wrap up, did you have um, any other achievements or current achievements or things that you're working on right now that you want to mention to everybody and or direct anybody? Go to her YouTube channel first of all, guys,
Yeah,
because she's got a lot
please
of good information. But
find me. You should be able to find me by my name, Karla Elizondo, my YouTube channel. If you see any purple, that's me. I love that's like my signature color, purple.
yeah, the
So
purple
I'm
and
on
gold.
yeah, purple and gold, baby. Instagram and TikTok as well. Yeah, so I'm just, first of all, like my day job, what I'm doing is I, give therapy, psychotherapy to clients, and I work for a private practice. So Talk Therapy Centers here in Riverside. So we do virtual, anybody in California. If you need help, please reach out for the mental health aspect. And then for coaching, I have a 6-month program, and I have a new website that I just published, karlaelizondo.com. So check that out.
Nice.
Yeah, if you're interested in investing in yourself and personal development, that's what I'm focused on. But creating daily content for the YouTube channel, collaborating with amazing people like Kevin. Just on the side note, as far as like production, I just signed on to produce a documentary about affordable housing, changing the
Mm,
face of what affordable housing is. And it's going to be amazing. So that's all I'll say. More to come in the future, but kind of starting pre-production on that.
nice.
And I'm a big sister for Los Angeles, Big Brother Big Sister program. So I've been
Oh,
there for
nice,
11
nice.
years, and yesterday we were invited to a Clippers game, and I'm going to post that later. So I got brought down to the court, got a
What?
shout out. It was so fun.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
just being active in the community, sharing what I do on my social media, just empowering, inspiring, teaching. Um, Yeah. And also check out Talk Therapy Center on Instagram. And I think
Okay.
we're starting our TikTok too. So I run that as well. I'm the kind of director of social media here. So I do that too. So if you want to focus on therapeutic type help and posts and all that, that's on the Talk Therapy Center. And then more mindset is on my personal channel. So yeah.
Got you. All right. Well, yeah, man. Thank you. Thank you very
Thanks for
much for
having
coming on
me.
here, Carla. If you could give a message out there to the world or to my subscribers or whoever ends up seeing this, um, what would it be? What would you say?
A message. If you're watching this right now, just know that you have all the power that you feel that you have, whatever it is that is inside of you. You're right. You're right. But you have to cultivate it. Ask for help. Ask for help. Seek help. You know, when we say, I know, that's us pushing our hands up and resisting the newness to life. When we say, you're right, or tell me more information, that's when our cup is open. You know, childlike mind, empty rice bowl. Whatever the power that you have within you is true and it's right, but it will remain inside of you unless you kind of go out and ask for the help and take action, invest in yourself. That's the number one thing. It's like, you know, when it comes to paradigms around money, and I ain't trying to sell you nothing. You don't got to buy nothing from me or Kevin or anybody. But I'm going to tell you right now, until you invest in yourself, you're not going to get any return on your investment, even if it's going back to traditional school, investing in a gym membership. But money out, investment back. It can come in the form of money or an experience or whatever. But if you're unwilling to put some skin in the game, put yourself on the hook, and that's what money does for me. It's like, if I paid for it, I'm going, right? It's like we
Hmm.
have to be accountable and responsible. So ask for help. I would say don't be afraid to ask for that help and make those changes. Because if you want something to change, you have to change something. If you want something to change, you have to change something. And know yourself. Self-awareness is the game. It's an inside job. Life is an inside job. You have to live from the inside out, not the outside in. And if that doesn't make sense to you, message me or Kevin and we will tell you, because that's the game. So yeah.
All right. Well, again, thank everybody for watching this. And if you found value from this, please share this video. But as always, like and subscribe, and definitely always remember that mindset matters more than anything else. As I always tell y'all, please focus on the good. Hit up Karla. Okay. Like you said, you on Instagram, TikTok,
Mm-hmm.
and YouTube. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And we can just look up your name
Yep. Mm-hmm.
and it should come right up. So y'all go look her up. Licensed professional here. So definitely if you want some professional help, that's something that you want to look into for sure. But other than that, love you guys, and we will see you guys in the next interview.